Have you ever pondered the origin of black people according to the Bible? This thought-provoking question serves as our starting point today. In this video, we will explore this fascinating topic, delving into the rich tapestry of biblical narratives and historical interpretations. Our journey begins at the dawn of creation, where, according to Genesis 1 verse 27, God created mankind in his own image. This profound statement sets the stage for our exploration. It hints at a divine blueprint, a universal humanity that transcends race, color, or ethnicity. From the serene beauty of creation, we will venture into the turbulent times of Noah and the Great Flood. Here, Genesis 9 verses 18 to 19 recounts the survival of Noah's sons and their descendants, the progenitors of all nations. Our voyage will then take us to the towering heights of the Tower of Babel. In Genesis 11 verses 8 and 9, we find a tale of human ambition, divine intervention, and the scattering of nations. This momentous event, as told in the Bible, is a pivotal point in understanding the origins of diverse peoples, including black people. Next, we will navigate the intricate paths of the Table of Nations, as detailed in Genesis 10. This genealogical account offers a glimpse into the ancestral lineage of different nations, providing a unique perspective on the roots of humanity. Throughout this journey, we will not only recount these biblical narratives, but also delve into various interpretations. We'll explore the perspectives of scholars, theologians, and historians, shedding light on different viewpoints and their significance. Indeed, the Bible is more than a collection of sacred texts. It is a reservoir of wisdom, a mirror reflecting our shared humanity, and a compass guiding our understanding of the world and its diverse inhabitants. So, as we embark on this journey, let's keep an open mind, a curious spirit, and a respectful attitude towards all interpretations and viewpoints. Join us as we journey through the Bible to seek answers. In the beginning, God created mankind in his image. This profound statement is recorded in Genesis chapter 1 verse 27. It lays the foundation for our understanding of humanity's origin according to the Bible. The verse explicitly states, "So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them." It's a powerful declaration, emphasizing the divine origin of humanity. It underscores that every human being carries the imprint of the divine, an echo of God's own image. The beauty of this verse lies in its simplicity and universality. It does not dive into the specifics of race or ethnicity. There's no mention of color, language, or geographical origin. Instead, it presents an overarching principle. All of humanity is created equal, reflecting the image of God. This statement is crucial, especially when discussing the origin of black people according to the Bible. Genesis 1:27 does not single out any race or ethnicity for special treatment. It speaks to the creation of humanity as a whole. It tells us that all people, regardless of their skin color or cultural background, are equally the image bearers of God. The Bible, in its wisdom, doesn't dwell on the creation of different races. Instead, it emphasizes the unity and equality of all people as God's creation. It underscores that every one of us, whether black, white, Asian, or any other race, has been fashioned by the same divine hand in the image of the same God. This inclusive view of humanity rejects any form of racial superiority or discrimination. It affirms that all humans share a common heritage, a divine lineage that goes back to the dawn of creation. It celebrates the diversity of humankind while reminding us of our shared origin and equal worth in the eyes of God. Thus, all of humanity, regardless of color, originates from this divine act of creation. This is the message of Genesis 1:27, a powerful reminder of our shared humanity and divine origin. Moving forward to the time of Noah, we find a significant event that influenced the course of mankind. The narrative of Noah and the flood is one of the most dramatic episodes in the Bible. It's a tale of divine judgment, survival, and renewal. But did you know that this story also holds clues about the origin of different races? Let's delve into Genesis 9:18-19. Here we encounter the sons of Noah who survived the flood, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The Bible tells us, "These three were the sons of Noah, and from these, the people of the whole earth were dispersed." Now think about it, if the entire human race was wiped out in the flood, except for Noah and his family, then it stands to reason that all of mankind today can trace their ancestry back to these three brothers. Herein lies the significance of this passage. Some scholars interpret this verse as the Bible's explanation for the diversity of human races. According to this interpretation, each of Noah's sons became the progenitor of a different racial group. Shem, the eldest, is traditionally associated with the Semitic peoples, the Hebrews, Arabs, Assyrians, and others who inhabit the Middle East today. These peoples share certain linguistic and genetic traits that set them apart from other racial groups. Ham, the second son, is associated with the Hamitic peoples. This group is thought to include the ancient Egyptians as well as various peoples in Africa. The descendants of Ham are characterized by their own unique languages and genetic markers. Lastly, Japheth, the youngest son, is linked with the Japhetic peoples, who are believed to have migrated northwards into Europe and parts of Asia. They became the ancestors of the Indo-European peoples, who spread their languages and cultures across vast territories. But let's pause for a moment. While this interpretation may seem straightforward, it's important to remember that it's just one possible reading of the text. The Bible does not explicitly state that Shem, Ham, and Japheth are the forefathers of different racial groups. This interpretation has been shaped over centuries by various scholars and theologians, and it has been influenced by cultural, historical, and even political factors. It's an interpretation that attempts to account for the rich diversity of human races within the framework of the biblical narrative. However, it's also crucial to note that the Bible consistently emphasizes the unity of the human race. From the creation story, where all humans are made in the image of God, to the teachings of the New Testament, where all are one in Christ, the Bible affirms that all people, regardless of race or ethnicity, are part of the same human family. In the end, the story of Noah and the flood is more than just a story of survival. It's a story that speaks to the origins of mankind, the diversity of human races, and the shared ancestry that unites us all. Whether we trace our roots back to Shem, Ham, or Japheth, we're all part of the grand narrative of humanity that unfolds in the pages of the Bible. It's intriguing, isn't it? But the story doesn't end here. Now let's venture into the tale of the Tower of Babel. A story that has intrigued scholars, believers, and the curious for centuries. It's found in the 11th chapter of Genesis, verses 8 and 9. This passage presents a pivotal event in human history, the dispersion of mankind and the birth of different languages. The tale goes something like this. Once upon a time, all of humanity shared a common language and lived in one place. They decided to build a city and a tower with its top reaching the heavens to make a name for themselves and prevent their scattering across the earth. However, this didn't sit well with God. Seeing their ambition and unity, He confused their language, causing them to no longer understand each other. Consequently, they dispersed, populating different parts of the world. The Tower of Babel, as it's known, is a symbol of human pride, ambition, and the pursuit of power. But more than that, it's an explanation, a rationale, for the existence of different languages and by extension different cultures and races. The dispersion of mankind, following the confusion of languages at the Tower of Babel, was not a random scattering. It was a divine intervention, a deliberate act of God to curb human arrogance and ambition. This event resulted in the distribution of humanity across the earth, each group developing its unique language, culture, and physical characteristics over time. In this context, the Tower of Babel story may be seen as a precursor to the development of different races. As people moved away from Babel, they settled in various parts of the world. Over time, these groups of people, living in isolation from others, developed distinct physical characteristics. These traits, determined by genetics and influenced by environment, eventually became the distinguishing features of different races. It's fascinating to note that while the Bible doesn't explicitly talk about race, it does give us a plausible explanation for its origin. The dispersion at Babel, coupled with the subsequent isolation and adaptation, could very well have led to the development of different races. However, it's essential to remember that the Bible's focus is not on the physical characteristics that differentiate races, but on the spiritual unity that binds all of humanity. In the eyes of God, all are equal, regardless of race or language. It's also worth noting that the Tower of Babel story, while offering an explanation for the diversity of languages and races, doesn't diminish the importance of cultural and racial diversity. On the contrary, it celebrates it. God, in His infinite wisdom, created a world rich in diversity, a world where every nation, tribe, and language has its unique place and purpose. In conclusion, the story of the Tower of Babel, as presented in Genesis 11, 8, 9, offers a compelling narrative about the dispersion of mankind and the birth of different languages. It suggests that this divine act might have also contributed to the development of different races. However, the Bible's emphasis is not on the differences among races, but on the unity of all humanity under God. The scattering of people and the confusion of languages at Babel set the stage for the formation of nations. It was an event that not only marked the birth of diversity, but also served as a reminder of our shared humanity and the divine wisdom that orchestrates the grand symphony of life. With the stage set at Babel, we now turn to the Table of Nations. Genesis 10, often referred to as the Table of Nations, provides a comprehensive genealogy detailing the descendants of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, post the Great Flood. This chapter is brimming with names, 70 to be precise, each representing a tribe, a nation, a race that sprung from the three sons of Noah. Let's start with Japheth. Genesis 10 verses 2 to 5 delineate the descendants of Japheth. These include Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. From these sons stem the Indo-European peoples, spreading from India to the farthest parts of Europe. Following Japheth, we have Ham. Ham's descendants, as noted in verses 6 through 20, include Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. Cush is often associated with the regions of southern Mesopotamia and Sudan, while Mizraim is commonly identified as Egypt. Put, on the other hand, is believed to represent Libya and Canaan, the land west of Jordan River, known today as Israel and Palestine. Lastly, we have the descendants of Shem, outlined in verses 21 through 31. Shem's lineage includes Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram, among others. Scholars often associate these names with regions in the Middle East, such as Persia, Assyria, and parts of Armenia. A detailed study of these genealogies reveals a fascinating pattern. It appears that the descendants of Noah's sons, according to the Bible, became the progenitors of the nations of the world. From the icy realms of Europe to the sun-drenched lands of Africa, from the ancient civilizations of the Middle East to the far-flung tribes of Asia, all trace their roots back to the Table of Nations. However, it's not just about geography. The Table of Nations also offers a cultural and linguistic roadmap. The descendants of Japheth, for instance, are believed to have given rise to the Indo-European languages. Similarly, the Semitic languages, such as Hebrew, Arabic, and Amharic, are thought to have originated from the lineage of Shem. It's important to note, though, that the Table of Nations is not a scientific document. It doesn't provide a complete picture of human genetic diversity or migration patterns. Instead, it offers a theological and historical perspective, providing a framework for understanding the world as it was known to the ancient Israelites. As we delve into this intricate web of names and nations, we come across a profound truth. The Bible, in its wisdom, acknowledges our shared ancestry. It reminds us that despite our differences in language, culture, or skin color, we are all part of the same human family. We are all, in essence, descendants of Noah's sons. But the Table of Nations does more than just trace our roots. It also sets the stage for the biblical narrative that unfolds in the following chapters. From the call of Abraham to the exodus from Egypt, from the rise of the Israelite monarchy to the prophetic visions of Isaiah and Daniel, all these stories are deeply intertwined with the nations and peoples listed in Genesis 10. So, as we navigate through these ancient genealogies, we're not just exploring a list of names. We're journeying through time, uncovering the roots of our shared heritage, and gaining a deeper understanding of the biblical worldview. Thus, the Bible presents a fascinating narrative of how different races may have originated. Now that we've explored these biblical passages, what can we make of them? Let's delve into the various interpretations and their significance. One of the most prominent perspectives is that these passages underscore the unity and equality of all races. When we look at the creation story, we see that every human being, regardless of their skin color or ethnicity, originates from the same divine source. This is a powerful testament to the fundamental equality of all people, as all are made in the image of God. In the narrative of Noah and the flood, we don't see a story of racial division, but rather a story of new beginnings and the shared ancestry of all nations. From Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, came all the nations of the earth. This perspective emphasizes the shared humanity and interconnectedness of all races. The Tower of Babel story, too, is often seen as a testament to our shared origins. Rather than being a tale of division, it can be interpreted as a narrative of diversity, a divine initiative to create a world rich in cultures and languages. In the Table of Nations, we find an ancient genealogical account that links all nations and races. This is another indication of the unity of humanity. The Bible doesn't categorize people by skin color, but by their lineage, which underscores the Bible's emphasis on shared ancestry and the equality of all races. These interpretations, however, should not be taken as absolute, for the Bible is a complex book, steeped in historical and cultural context that we may not fully grasp today. It's essential to approach these passages with humility and a willingness to learn and understand. For example, the story of Noah and his sons has been misused in the past to justify racial hierarchies, a perspective that is not in line with the Bible's teachings of love, equality, and respect for all. It's a stark reminder of how important it is to approach these texts with a genuine desire to understand their original intent and context. Similarly, the story of the Tower of Babel has sometimes been interpreted as a punishment for humanity's pride, leading to division and misunderstanding among people. Yet another view suggests that it was a divine plan to foster diversity and mutual dependence among humans. The Bible, like any other historical text, is subject to interpretation, and these interpretations often reflect the values and beliefs of the interpreter. This is why it's crucial to approach the Bible with an open mind, seeking to understand its messages in their historical and cultural context. As we can see, the Bible offers a rich tapestry of narratives that can be interpreted in various ways. It's a book that calls us to reflect on our shared humanity, our interconnectedness, and the divine image that we all bear. As we continue to explore and study these narratives, let's remember to celebrate the diversity and unity that these stories highlight. So, what have we learned about the origin of Black people according to the Bible? We've journeyed through the creation story, where Genesis 1:27 tells us that God created man in his own image, to Noah and the flood, and the subsequent dispersion of Noah's descendants. We've analyzed the Tower of Babel narrative, where mankind's languages were confused and people were scattered over the face of the earth. We've explored the Table of Nations, a genealogical account of the descendants of Noah's 3 sons. The Bible, however, does not explicitly mention the creation of different races. Instead, it presents a narrative of mankind's origin and dispersion that can be interpreted in various ways. Some find in these stories a biblical explanation for the diversity of human races, while others caution against overly literal interpretations. As we close this exploration, remember that regardless of our origins, the Bible emphasizes our unity and equality as God's creation.